What's up, everyone? How's it going? Thanks for joining us today at the Huddle, your number one flooring podcast to help you move forward in your flooring career. We are missing Paul today. Oh, look, we are not missing Paul because he's on here. First comment. He's got some meetings to attend to today, so have fun at those, Paul. Everyone, well, most people know how not fun meetings are, but
I'm trying to figure out how to share this off my phone right now.
so I am in Florida right now, ready to go back home to Michigan. It's super rainy here today, so that's not fun. But the kids are still in the pool today.
There.
Yeah,
How
I
did it
just
go
dropped
down
them off over
there
there.
for vacation or for your short vacation? But how did it go with the fam and the band?
Good. What's up, Jose? So yeah, after coverings, during coverings, really, we left a little bit early and came over here to Florida. My son's band was playing over at Disney Springs, so it we ended up getting in around midnight, and then went to the rental car place. It was not fun there, man. It's went downstairs, right, and it's like, oh, if you're a preferred member, just go upstairs. Get up there. They didn't have any vehicles for anyone. They were like scrambling to get people in anything. So I was supposed to have an SUV. I'm in a little pickup truck, Honda Ridgeline. He was like, "Is that gonna be all right?" I said, "Man, anything is better than nothing at this point." Like he said, it's either that or like a 15 passenger van.
Dude, you should have went old school and got the van.
No, I'm good.
Could open up the side doors, let your kids let their feet hang out.
So we got all that situated, and didn't end up getting back over here until like 3 a.m. or something like that,
With the
and then
kids?
had to be over there at Disney Springs to watch him perform at 10.
That sounds pretty legit.
But they did good. Realized that the school needs to invest in some microphones because they sounded really good, but they had mics placed everywhere so you could actually hear every single instrument.
Mm. You get that's they got a pretty big band too. I watched some of the videos. Well, I guess some of the vantage point it makes it look like this everything's big because it was like back. Definitely a lot more participating than the middle school. The seventh grade
Well, we
struggling for
got
people
four
there.
grades instead of just one, so
Yeah.
and we're
So
still a
coverings.
tiny band.
So coverings. How did that go? Because we only
Coverings
talked a
was
little bit
good.
while you were there.
Yeah, coverings was good. Me and Jorge, out there hanging out and just meeting a lot of people that we don't get to talk to, right? And that's what I was telling them. They were like, "Why are you guys here? And what's going on?" I'm like, "Man, all of our like, we got tile, we got wood, we got carpet resilient. Everyone is in their different silos in their markets, and no one really like crosses over going to shows and stuff." And I said, we always talk about how can we break that, like, and I was like, I'll be honest, especially for the tile industry, I'm kind of jealous because of how close knit they are. And they were like, yeah, I mean, a lot of them were like, yeah, we can see that because they do. They like they're cheerleaders for everyone else. And I said on our side, what we see a lot of is how everyone is just they think that they're the best in the world and no one can ever be better than them.
Well, Paul had said something too when we were talking before we went live. Is there's a different they have a different attitude. There's a sense of pride, right? Like the good ones are good and they set themselves apart intentionally. And they know that they do it for the art. So maybe mentality is a little bit different. And maybe that's the problem with the other surfaces is that we don't intentionally create that separation. And we're stuck with the same I don't want to train my replacement mentality versus I want to teach everyone how to do this artwork.
Right. I don't know. They just are on another level, but I think um one of the big things that has to do with it is like the NTCA, right? They're, as far as I know, directly tied into like the CTEF was the is the Education Foundation, and just and Jorge says over here on Instagram too. He says the Tile peeps were super positive, right? And it's just them being tied in, and then them having their hand in. They're one of the people that organize the entire show, so it's not. I don't know. It's it's not just the show going on and then having people come. It's them actually in it, and them um at the show that with their rock stars, right? They're like these people that are in the tile industry and are that are showing some positive impact actually get recognized. And I think when they can see, oh, if I do some good, then I can get recognized too, and then they're putting them on stage and stuff, and it's like it's almost kind of reminds me of kind of how CFI convention is, but on a way larger scale. And it's the most installers, contractors, and Spanish speakers I've ever seen. Like they had their tile of Spain, right? And you go over there and Jorge's talking to everyone in Spanish. So I can understand why they're trying to have this big push for Spanish speakers because, I mean, a third of maybe not a third, but there was a huge part of coverings that was all Spanish speakers, and a lot of the Spanish speakers were like they're just all super involved.
Do you
I
think that
just
is because let's just look at it from an individual basis. Do you think as individuals they are more invested as a career versus a job, right? Like they understand that they can make a really good living doing what they do. So they invest more into people, into the trade, into training, into networking. Um, you see where I'm going with that? Is it the culture? Is it just different than what we're used to seeing?
I think so. Jose or Jorge says that they're opening up for more Spanish speakers that attend next year. He's already got an email on it, so we're hoping to get some more people out there. But to answer your question, I really don't know. I'd really like to talk to more people and get how their mindset is on things, because I've also talked to people about the CTI, right? And how hard that test is, and why why more people are more apt to do that. And they were like, really, they're not. They're seeing the same pushback as we are on our side. It's like, well, I already know how to do it. Why do I need to get certified? And talking to some of them, they do say that they have those people that are totally like that, and then once they do it, they're like, wow, yeah,
Well,
I didn't know that it was this involved, and then they end up starting to get involved. So it's really just taking that next step for that. But as far as like how close knit they are, I don't know, man. I think that is one thing that we have to start figuring out, and I don't think we'll end up figuring that out until we, kind of keep on talking to them and seeing how they do stuff compared to how we do, and trying to almost mimic it.
Well, that's a lot of successful companies and individuals do that. They try to take the same steps and follow the same path that successful individuals or people they look up to do, to try to find success or to increase their chances of success, I would say.
And Denise says they have their own world, but they welcome everyone. And yeah, I never felt out of place there or anything. It's just a different world, seeing people that you see online in person, and just the amount of installers there that were really there to learn. And they did, so the CTI test is a 1 day thing, right? And they had each day, a handful of people testing, and it was sponsored by, like, one day it was sponsored by QEP. The next one was sponsored by Ladycrete. So it's like they got these companies that also have their back. And I think when you look at it in terms of that, like, I think QEP Roberts does a great job on both sides because they are on both sides. But some of these other companies kind of need to start stepping up on the soft goods side, at least, to kind of show their support, where we see that in the hard tile industry too. Like, how can we get more of these companies supporting the way that they do on that side? And I guess maybe I just haven't looked into it to really see it, but I just don't see that on our side. I don't know if you have or not.
No, but it's a two-way street, right? Like if they don't feel that they have the push or the need to show support or the following, I guess, then maybe they're less likely to do it. You know, the chances of us going and taking a trading class or a certification in the hard surface side when we ourselves are primarily soft surface, uh, it's very slim, but we might go to an after hours educational seminar or something like that, right? Maybe that's how they're looking at it is the majority of their client base is in this market versus this one, and they kind of favor the market that serves them best as well.
Yeah, it makes sense. I just know that we could use some help, and it's more or less like the guys that have all the thin sets and all the grouts. You see them helping out, and I see them just helping out more on that side than I do on this side.
Well, today's episode is the hidden strain, managing stress in the flooring industry. And the reason I started with the coverings and went that way is how stressful did everything appear from their perspective, from your perspective on their end, versus what we deal with? Are we, like you said, everyone's in their own silo, their own little corner of the flooring world. Do we put more stress on ourselves because we don't have all the systems in place that they do, or is it job to job? Is it person to person? I don't know if
Well,
you picked up on any of that or asked them about some of their processes and their progression on a job site and what they can and cannot get away with.
no, not. I didn't get too much into conversation like that, but we do have Mario Gonzalez on Instagram. He says, "What's up?" And that if we ever, well, not if we ever, but if anyone ever wants to be a rock star or a craftsman of the year, you at least have to be registered with the NTCA or CTEF. He said he's been to many shows, many years in a row. He says, less stress, you will live longer, so never stress. And that's kind of one of the attitudes you have to strive for, right? And we talk to our guys about it all the time too. And it's like, you do. Sometimes you get overwhelmed, and sometimes you just have to take a step back and just be like, you know what? Let me just let me just back up real quick.
Yeah, easier said than done for sure. Especially when you got personalities that clash. Um,
Uh oh, you're glitching again. I can
my
still hear you
back.
though. Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, it said, "Oops, signal loss." I don't, dude. I'm hardwired in. I don't understand it.
We gotta get you a new docking station, I think.
Yeah, I think that one just isn't meant for this computer. But they're
So
like
yeah,
$500 for the one I need, dude. That's a lot of money.
so it is awesome that they do those rock stars and everything, but at the same time, it's to me it seems easier for other tile installers to actually look at someone and be like, this is a great person. I want to do work like this. Than it is for people on the soft surface side to be like, to do the same thing, even though that's what we do anyways, right? Like, look at, you know, us being cheerleaders for people that have been in the competition, like Jimmy Salisbury. That dude is great. And actually, the first day of the show over there, he was calling me, and he had someone asking him about a project in Grand Rapids, and he's like, "If you're about it, I'll just pass him your information." And I think we do the same thing, right? And that's why we get along so great with him. But I just see that more on that side than I do on this side.
People are probably more open to sharing information too, not just not just people within their buddy system network, but people within the industry. Um,
So Mario says on Instagram too. He says, "Have faith that everything will work out, or it goes how it's going to go, and enjoy the time we have more with your loved ones and family." He's about to fill up 3 shower pans and not even going to stress they're going to pass tomorrow morning. That's it, man. It's like you just fill them up. It is what it is, right? They either pass or they don't, and then you work backwards. But if you let it stress you out, that's just gonna keep you up at night. That's that's where we tell people that just do it and come back tomorrow, and if something's wrong, figure it out then.
yeah, I will say the more things that you have on your plate, the more things that you have to look over, the chances of having a higher stress level increase. I will say that. It's you're either stressed about putting food on your table or you're stressed about putting food on everybody's table, and then everything's got to go right for there to be no stress. But I guess the stressful times are dime a dozen, man. They're always going to be there. Try not
And
to be upset about things, but
I was talking to someone in line at one of the in one of the rides, right? Because I like to. You're just standing in line, so I like to talk. But they were talking to me, and they were a younger couple, and they're going to get married this year. I say younger than us. They were 20, 26, I think, 26, 27.
damn, I remember when I used to think that was old.
I know, right? And they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna get married," and this guy is a welder, and he just works by himself, and he goes and tries to get contracts at different places, and I guess he's been looking at stuff they're from Texas, and he's been looking at like jobs. I think he said in like Wyoming or something, but doing 6 month contract or something like that. And she was like, and it doesn't bother me. They don't have kids. That gives her a chance to be like, all right, I got some time off of work. I'm gonna go up there and visit you, so I can travel too. I said, that's awesome. That's an awesome way to think about it. And he was just like, yeah, but I've just been trying everywhere lately, and no one's been, they haven't been biting, right? And I think once, if you really look at it, that's how all of us are, because you're like putting food in on your plate, putting food on someone else's plate, because the stress of getting that work never ends. Like, it's either you're in the field working, stressing about how you're going to get that next one, or you're in the office working, stressing about how you're going to get that next one. It doesn't matter
And
what.
as we progress, right? When we were just doing install only, our stress was, man, I hope people have work for us. I hope we get more work, and right. I hope they give us more work next year. I hope we get this. I hope we get that. And then progress is like, I hope I find more work. I hope I sell more work. I hope our guys can handle the work. I hope our guys want to learn how to do more things. I hope, you know what I mean? And I hope that we can take care of the work that we got. It's a step, right? It's the stepping system. There's always going to be more stress the way, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, Mario
Just try
says,
not to
just don't.
overload yourself, I guess.
He says, don't let anything keep you up at night when it's time to shut down. If you do stress, let it pass quickly, or as quickly as possible.
You know what? I will tell you what keeps you up at night is when you have a female dog in heat and your male dog is going bow, bow, all night
Is
long from the cage.
is about to eat through a wall in order to get over there.
Dude, he's so pathetic. It was like somebody was hurting his feelings. He was crying. It sounded like a human yelling.
But I mean, yeah, about
Well, I want
as
to know
far
how
as
everybody else deals with the stress out there, right? Like,
well,
everybody's got,
that's what I was gonna say. As far as handling the stress, right? We all handle it differently, I think,
yeah.
and like we were talking with Ashlyn before we started, and she was like, I forget what she said, but I was like, we're all ADD, so the stress is what we strive on, really.
Pressure, right? Stress causes pressure. Pressure
Like
causes
if
stress.
there's no stress there, then
You're not
you
trying.
kind of you kind of stop trying, right? It's like,
Yeah.
what am I what am I even doing this for? But then once you get the pressure of having, 10 bids all due within like a week of each other, and you're working on all of them at the same time, and someone comes on, knocks on the door, and you're like, just don't even bother me, right? At the same time, that's what you kind of strive on, and I'm saying that because that just happened to me not too long ago. But then
I know, I know.
it,
So
it
everything they came to ask you, they came to ask me. So it just added more stress onto me, and I had to stop what I was doing because you were doing those. It's like it is what it is.
and that's one of those things, right? Where I mean, I did have a post bid on Friday, so I'm hoping that we end up pretty solid on that one. Um, but it's those stressful times that make you put these things together, and then once you do end up getting something, it makes it that much better, I think.
I'll tell you what, the stress of trying to do too many things all at once is what led me to try to build that thing with chat, which led you to trying to create that GPT, right? So
And now it's going to be a whole thing where we'll have something pretty solid in the end, I think.
yeah, I mean the the reason for it was just to speed things up and make it because like you said, ADHD, and we all have a lot of things going on all at once, and it was just I didn't want to I didn't want to lose I didn't want to miss information, and needed to make it a lot easier to do more faster. as bad as that sounds.
But that, I mean, when you talk about AI too, and bringing that into the mix, AI can alleviate some of your stresses as well. But you do have to put the work into it, and that's what we say every time, right? It's not just something that you can just think it's gonna come out of the box magically working like it needs to. It's you have to feed it that information that it's going to read in order to spit out what you want it to spit out. And like I can only imagine how much Paul is doing because he's with the APIs and he's having it like actually building employees when all we're doing really is building internal stuff, right? We're not actually having the agents do all the work. We're just feeding it the information so that way it speeds up what we're doing.
Yeah, we're not as advanced as Paul yet. That's all. We're still entry level.
Yeah, so Mario says that he used to get short with his wife in the past, and he's been working on that because his work stress got pushed to her, and his tone would change because his mind was always on projects.
Oh, I feel that. I understand that. Like that's a hard balance too. Like I
It
think we're
is.
all guilty of it, and we added a little more stress on us with the move, right? And things are got a little clustered up, and I could tell you what, everybody listen, if you want less stress, if you're moving your business or to a different building, plan accordingly. It's not as easy as just packing up and moving.
And he says that she was vocal with him about it, and every time he's finishing up a project, it was, everything that was on his mind was like finishing details and the final payment and trying to just like not present, I guess. So he had to change that, and he's doing a lot better and not bringing his work home. And Tanya's sitting right across from me right now too. But we've talked about
Yeah,
that before, where it was a lot of work. Talking about it, and we've talked about it, and then at one point it was all right. I'll stop talking about it, and then it got to a point where now it's I never talk about anything. So it's about time to revisit how I'm doing that too, because she's like, I had no idea about this, I had no idea about that, and it's like, well, tell me not to talk about work, so I don't talk about work.
I tried not to go home and talk about it, but yeah, people who ask a lot of questions. Hey, how's this? I'm like, sometimes I just don't like to relive my days. I just like it's behind me, and I like to keep it that way. But it's a little different because my family's always here because I'm always here. So they come and bring dinner and hang out and hit balls into the net, play catch in the world. Like I get a lot of family time here when we're a little bit overwhelmed. Now I do have the issue where I don't like to just leave and go home because the ADH thing kicks in,
Oh
right?
yeah, and you get in the zone.
I get in the zone and like for a long time I was working on the additional things. I can't do it at home. I know I'm so distracted at home that it's hard to do that, but I do get in that mode like next thing you know it's 10:30 at night. I'm like, "Oh, all right, I got to start I have to exit every day."
Well,
And that's
I think
stressful.
it's stressful right now for us because people may look at us as a mature business, but we're still
We still got
the
tabs on
office
her.
part. The office part is still new, right? So we're still trying to figure that out, and then also taking ourselves out of the field equation, and then trying to still
Balance,
manage
yeah.
that at the same time. It's a whole nother thing, and like we talked before, it's like running two businesses in one, where we're doing the full service and selling and stuff, but then also running the installation crews. And Paul tells us all the time, he's like, y'all, you guys need to hire people. And it's
We
like, yeah, but at the same time, we have to have these systems in place in order to have the people that we hire have something to follow, because we brought people in before where we didn't, and it gets really old when you're like, this is how you do things, and then the next day they're like, how do you do that again? And then the next day, how do you
yeah.
do that again? So without having that stuff in place, it's hard to hire someone, but it's also hard to get that stuff in place because we haven't hired anyone. So it's like we're
What do you do? What do you do?
talk about stressful.
Yeah, let's dive in. Got gotta kind of go all in sometimes, and pray that it works out.
Yeah,
Right?
but
Please
it's
don't. Please don't be a dumb decision. Please don't be a dumb decision.
I think one of the things that alleviates some of the stress is going and to like these trade shows and stuff like that where you see everyone and just being able to just hang out with like-minded people.
Well, you learn, right?
You
And
you,
and
you
people share
learn
information.
and it kind of gives you something to ride back on where you don't feel like you're doing it alone even though they're not necessarily in your business, but it's like, man, this person is doing great. I want to be doing great just like them. How can I do that? And then you just get back to it and start working. And I don't, like I said, I don't know how other people deal with things, but being the ADHD that we are, it's like work isn't one of those things that really, like, it does stress you out, but it's one of those things that also calms you down at the same time.
Yeah, just like if you look behind, I got some shelves and stuff going right, and you see that file cabinet, right? Like I was like, there's too much clutter in here. That was stressing me out. So I was like, what can I do to alleviate some of that? And that was utilize some of the stuff that we had sitting out in the warehouse and putting things away. I think I got to get a lot of things out of sight, right? So there's less things to lose focus on, and losing path, losing that focus is what can cause a lot of stress. And I know we can always call Paul and be like, hey, dude, how did you deal with this? Or how are you dealing with this? We have a lot of people that we could call on that. Maybe we should utilize that part too, the way people utilize us for what we can help with.
Right. And I have called Paul before, and I call Jorge, and I'll call Roland. That way, I know we're definitely not in this alone. Mario says organization is definitely big, and Kendall says he feels that the guys always say, "Why were you still working?" We were done a while ago. I always say, "No, you were done a while ago. My work is never done. If it is
Man, I
done
say
for
that to
me, then
Kendall
you
all the
guys don't
time.
have
That dude's
work."
part time.
I know it'd be like, I work till 2 p.m.
I don't work on Fridays that
on
end in odd
Thursdays.
numbers. Yeah.
But then on the opposite side, Omar, from Armor Floor Systems, they do our resinous flooring and polished concrete, and he'll call and it'll be like 7:30, and be like, "Hey man, you still working?" Be like, "Yeah, I'm at the office still. What's up?" He said, "Damn." But at the same time, he was just leaving a job site, so
Yeah. Or he'll be a Sunday and he'll be like, hey, I'm over here on this job. Like, you working on Sunday, bro? Yeah. Same. It just, the balance, try to find things that alleviate the stress. And speaking of that, I got to go get tacos with Kendall. We've been talking about it for like 3 months now.
Mario asks if we see how organized Tao Bro Kurt is, and I'm gonna have to look him up because I need to see this organization. Like, if you look at, I'll say right here, these pack out boxes in the back, we try to become super organized and have all those loaded up, right? And then I go into the van one day and open any drawer, right? And it's like, oh, I need this tool. Open the drawer, not in there. Oh, maybe it's in here. Open the next drawer, nothing in there. And it's like, and that's where coming up with more systems is
Well, it's not
gonna.
even systems, right? You get, dude. Sometimes it's the people, not the system. Sometimes it's just the people, and
Yeah,
you can't. I will go. I'm gonna go off on a little thing if I get too deep into it, but you can't teach people how to be responsible and take care of your stuff if they don't want to take care of your stuff. So if you have a system in place, um, you're going to stress yourself out if you think that that system is a fix all for depending on what it is. But you just got to be consistent on trying to make corrections and be open minded to making it easier. So that way everybody can follow it. It's easy enough for everybody, not like that one time I tried to make that system where people had to report on this very complicated sheet that no, it was easy to me because I created it, but
so Mario says make sure we look up his Tao Bro on Insta and Kurt on Facebook. He's easily found. He says that he creates videos. So yeah, we're gonna have to look him up. And he also said that he almost worked on Easter, which I think on Easter you guys were over at the shop anyways, right?
yeah, I ended up working the whole time. But I popped out, played a little bit of cornhole, ate some food, talked crap with everybody. You know how we do, make fun of each other.
Yeah, Mar he asked if we create videos like the content creators of our work because Mario says that he does a lot of that and it's like his portfolio for his clients. And we did do that for a while, and I think we still have some stuff out there. But social media is something that I one of those things that I had to get off my plate in order to focus on other things. So my niece handles that now.
Yeah, but and as far as the content, I think she's creating posts of what we do, but we don't do nearly as much of the personalized content and
Right.
the Tuesday tips and all that other stuff anymore. Like,
And it's just hard because it's not even the recording it that's the hard part because we can get as much content as we want. It's the editing and putting it together is
yeah,
where I don't have the time and
because I got a lot of videos too, like a lot of individual interviews, a lot of one on one, a lot of walking through some of the conventions, and that is fun. But then we go back to the stress of things, the not having the time to do the editing, because we're just at a different part right now where we're trying to split focus is very hard.
yeah, and knowing when to delegate things, right? And sometimes it's like I would like to do all this stuff, but at the same time, I can't just think that someone else can do the same thing that I can and be like, just do this and edit this video and put it all together. And instead of doing that, I ask her, it's like, do you think that you can do this? And it's either yes or no. And I'm not going to be like, oh, well, spend 24 hours to learn how to do this so you can start doing it. And he says it takes a lot of time away from your family after work when you need to be present with the family. And that's so when I was at coverings, I was talking to someone and they were like, "Oh, you're leaving early?" I was like, "Yeah, it's my son's going to Florida with the band and they have a performance there." He said, "You've said enough. You said you were going with your family. That's all you needed to say." He said, and that is, I mean, if he wasn't coming down here, I wouldn't have been coming to Florida. I mean, granted, we did extend the trip and went to Universal, and now my kids have an understanding that Cedar Point is goaded for being a theme park there. So even Aria, went on her first roller coaster, her big coaster yesterday, right? 2 days ago. 2 days ago, she went on the Velocicoaster. She was nervous the whole time, and I was like, "You're gonna be nervous. Even I'm nervous when I go on some of these rides, but then when you're on it, it's awesome." Grab your picture. I'm gonna see if you can see it in here. This girl was so scared for the first half of the ride, and then the second half, she started saying, "I can't believe I'm doing this." And so, look, one kid, the other kid.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
So
hilarious.
it's one of those things. You just got to do it, and you'll end up enjoying it, right? Yep. She went on her second big coaster yesterday. We were at Epic Universe, so she went on one of them there. Do you remember the name? Stardust Racers.
I
But
don't like
yeah,
going
I
on the little kid roller coasters. The big ones are a lot easier on my back. I just the first one I went on when I went to Disney was that stupid like mouse trap one, and it like stops and jerks you. There, dude, that thing like my back was like pop 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 pop. It was like dang.
no, I definitely love the coasters. That's why we like going to Cedar Point because it's just going from coaster to coaster. These big parks only got like a few big coasters, and that's about it. Mario says that he's based out of Naples, Florida. And then actually, Denise, you said enjoy the parks. I was wearing a D&D shirt the other day while I was at one of the parks. I was like, gotta bring one of these.
He was trying to look like a loco, see if he got something for free.
Rocksteady Tile Company said, "What's up, boys? Hope you're well. We're doing good."
I wonder if
Yeah,
there's
I just
anybody
wish.
else that I'm getting back to the topic about the stress of the day to day, who might have started just them and a helper, tried to scale up and then scaled back down. Uh, is there anyone listening right now that went through that process? What was the reason of scaling back down? What's the reason for scaling up? And what was the balance of the stress?
Right, because you'll
And
never get
honestly, I'm
rid of the
trying to learn,
stress.
right?
Right, you'll never get rid of the stress. Every time we end up growing anything, the stress is always there. And then you just learn how to deal with it and learn how to manage it. And then you do something else, and then the stress comes, and then you learn how to deal with it and learn how to manage it.
She's got to go in the other room and yell. "That fucking mother-"
No, that's just when you're working at, like on vehicles and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So Mario said he was up to 13 employees and now down to him and his partner. And there's been a lot of people that we talk to that have done that, running multiple crews, and then at some point you're just like, you know what, it's less stressful if I just do this, and then you're more in control, but it's also on how you're going about the business.
I think, well, you're either going to be stressed about money, stressed about people. I mean,
Or
or
all of the
both.
above. Stressed about the work, stressed about getting the work, stressed about how much work you have when it's too much, how how
Little
it's
work you
not
have when there's
enough,
not enough.
stressed about
Yeah,
setting up the new warehouse, stressed about
almost there.
getting getting a forklift that you need because we set it up a certain way and then it's not there yet, so you can't even use the racking that you set up.
Actually, it is here now, and we have the charger. Just got good
Are
to
both of them
go.
there now?
No, no, but we have the reach truck. We don't have the regular forklift, so still using trusty, rusty, leaky, leaky. The
Yeah, he
scissor lift
said,
got fixed.
nice. Mario said, and if they messed up, he didn't like yelling and getting upset when one of his guys made a big mistake. And that's something that we're still working through, right? Because right now it almost seems like on every project it's like, and it's
Yeah,
never just something super simple. It's always like you guys skipped this entire step and now we have to redo something. And it's like,
it is
and
something
then the
that's
next
yeah.
job, it's like, and it wasn't anything that we left out. Like our work orders are pretty good, I think. Like, right? Because we look back on it from when we were installing, and it's like I would love to have a work order that spelled things out like this.
Yeah, I would have too, but not having them also made us very self sufficient on finding information. Now, I don't know, double edged sword, I guess, trying to find balance, right? You have everything there, and people still choose not to read the entire work order.
No, but
Then
I
you got
think
people like me who can't be too nice about it, and that's my stress. Then that causes stress on other people because my delivery isn't always the best.
and neither of mine. I mean, we all have our moments, but I think we're better than we used to be, and we've still got a lot of growing to do. And it's one of those things where it's a learning moment for us at the same time because it's like kind of getting back to the point where Mario was like, what's the point to stress over it, right? The water test, you do it and then come back tomorrow and see how it is. And sometimes it's you got to take that little bit of time to just reflect on it and be like, you know what, what's done is done, let's fix it and move on.
Follow all the steps, and you shouldn't really have to stress about anything.
Yeah, these kids were
Well,
just
you
at
got
the
to go
pool,
hang with
came
your
back
family, Bubba.
hungry. Yeah,
Should
we're
probably cut
gonna
this one a little short. That way you can go
la-
hang with them while you're out there.
yeah, I think we're gonna make one more trip over to Disney Springs. It looks like it's not raining anymore, right?
Hey, did your son get to stay with you, or did he have to ride go back with the school?
No, he's with us. What'd you say? No. all she all she cares about is roller coasters now. For 40 seconds. But yeah, him and Amelia are with us.
Oh yeah, I forgot Emo was there with you too. Hey, I don't know if Emo's gonna get that glove back, dude. Don't know.
And Mario says it's frustrating, so he just scaled down to only worry about himself now. And
Yeah,
I
you
think
worry about yourself.
I think that a lot of the guys, in the trades are like that too. And it's trying to, you know, with what we're doing, it wouldn't work like that anymore, especially when uh, we wore ourselves very, very thin with our bodies really early with the amount of projects we were doing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I will say, while my body was healthy, I told myself I gotta do it all now. Because when I get older, I'm not gonna be able to. I didn't know that it was gonna speed up that process, but can't imagine putting that load on again.
Right, but I mean, I seen Dan Welsh over here, which is from
Oh
Welsh
yeah,
uh, Marble and Tile, right?
Tyler Marble.
One of those. But he was up for an award down there, and seen him. Told him, congratulations, and just can't win them all, right? So it was left up to the people of the tile industry, and they voted for someone. But I will. Welsh has been amazing to us, and I will never talk bad about them. So I'm
Realistically, you
definitely. I
can't
think we
because
were.
they've always had our back.
Yeah, and the same thing. We will always have theirs too. So um, I'm kind of grateful that we actually he he brought us into his office, one time and talked to us about just business in general, and that's really where we started doing some more research and going off on our own and stuff. And he was honest with us. He was like, you know, my dad started this business out of a little garage or whatever wherever they started and grew it to what it is today. So he was like, we can never get mad at people for wanting to do that. It's just what some people are gonna do.
Yep. And and anybody thinking about starting their own business and going out or trying to expand, that's a happy stress, right? Like just stay consistent. Just it's just a you're gonna set a goal, and then that marker's gonna move once you get close to it. I promise you, it's gonna move, and then you get close to it again, and it's going to move. And sometimes that move isn't the direction you want to go, but there's still a move, and then you sit idle until you're ready for the next one.
Mario says, tell them about stress on super important, high paying projects.
Man,
And I
I
think
miss
that's
those.
where,
I miss being on those projects. To be honest with you,
but at the
like
same time, I think that's where we're a little different than everyone else because it doesn't matter if it's one of those projects or one of the smaller projects. We're trying to handle them the same way and give the client the best possible installation anyway. So it makes it easier on those super high profile ones because that's what we're used to anyways. He says happy stress when projects pay over 100K, but also super stressful.
the waiting for the
And
payment is the stressful part.
yeah, Mario, I don't know if you do more commercial or residential, but if you want to talk about some high stresses and getting on some of these commercial projects where the deadlines are like set in stone, like we already sent everything out that we're opening on this day. And we were just on one the end of last year where I went in one day and uh, the guy that was in charge wasn't relaying information the way he should. And then the new guy was like, "Yeah, what we got this party coming in here on this day." And I said, "When were you guys gonna tell me?" He said, "They never told you." I said, "No." He's like, "Oh yeah, well you've only got like 2 weeks to do this amount of work," and it was it was a lot. But we were probably the only trade that was done and out of there when we were supposed to.
Probably because you kicked everybody else out. But get out of here. This is my floor.
He's doing dealerships, grocery stores like Walmart, and high-end residential. Yeah, we've done grocery stores before too. Those can be really stressful.
Yeah, and the stress didn't come from the workload, right? The stress came from the window that we had, and if you completed a window of X amount of square foot successfully, then the store and whoever hired you took it upon themselves to add more square footage. And sometimes that those variables with the prep and the removal are the things that you can't plan for. Um, but also, the staff at the store would be stressed because they need to get set up and ready for their business and their day as well, and they're waiting on us. And yeah, it was a
But I think, looking at everything, dealing with the stress, we're all going to deal with it differently. And when it was different in the field than it is in the office, right? Because in the field, I always tell people it's just easy because I just do it. I don't have to think about it. I already know what to do. In the office, it's more of having to learn how to do things and then implementing. So it's more research and then going, especially when like we're working with products that I've never even heard of before. So it's like I can't just bit, and that's where I can see where other people look at us and it's like, how do you know all this stuff when these other salespeople just throw a bid? It's like, because if I'm going to be selling something, I need to know about it.
Yeah, I know. I know. I know. How do you sell something you don't know anything about? Like, why? Like, if someone pulls you aside and you have to have a conversation about it and you know nothing about it, I wouldn't hire someone who didn't know anything about my truck to work on my truck.
Mario's working on a $2.5 million one beachfront property. He has he says he got to see this view, what he's been working on, and he asked if we want to see the view. I'd love to see the view, but I don't even like with the software that we're using. I don't think that we can have you join unless I send you a link. But we'll definitely have to get you on sometime just to talk. And Mario says he knows flooring. Well, I hope that the Huddle is still floor god approved. But then, those stresses are, like I said, you learn, and then you get used to them, and then you add more stresses, and then you get used to them, and then you add more
And you have
stresses,
more.
and then in some cases, like Mario, you just are like, you know what? Sometimes some of those stresses are better off just going away, and then guess what? You still have more stresses because you'll never get away from them. It's just a matter of being able to deal with them and knowing that whatever you run into isn't the end of everything, right? This project, this one thing on this project is not gonna be the end of your entire
What's that?
business.
What's that thing? I think it was something about Tom Hanks. I watched a video a while ago. It is this too shall pass.
Yeah, and it does, right? It's just it always sucks in the moment, but even in baseball, we have the 24-hour rule, right? You can't talk to the coach for 24 hours because sometimes you just need that little bit to process, and then it's like, all
I
right,
think that's a
let me go
universal
about this
baseball rule.
a different way. But
That is a universal baseball rule for sure.
so definitely, if you guys have any more tricks for us, throw them in the comments. We're always looking for tips on what we put on
Somebody's
this
here.
podcast, and stress is one of those things that you'll never get away from. So let us know how you guys deal with your stress, so we can put them into our rotation. We always
Yeah, we
need
need
something new
some
to,
rotation, and we need to put them in everybody else's rotation too.
but we definitely appreciate you guys. We've hit our time, so definitely give us a like and subscribe over on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you're catching this, and share it with everyone, whether you like it or not. I mean, we need those thumbs downs too, right? But if you don't like it, we definitely invite you
Boo!
on so we can be better. Come on here, give us
Make
some
us
some
better.
better content. So we appreciate you, and we definitely missed Paul this week, but hopefully we'll see him again next week. But we don't know what's on his schedule. He might have another meeting.
Never know. We ain't gonna stress about it though.
We're not stressing about it. Take that when it comes. All right, guys. Well, definitely appreciate you, and again, like, make sure you're looking at all these trade shows and certifications coming up. I try to, whenever I see something come across Facebook and stuff like that, I try to share it, and especially with the NTCA and stuff like that, they have free workshops and stuff like that. So get the education any way you can, especially when it's free. And I know the NAFCT, so just over a month from now, we'll be in Georgia putting on a heat weld and flash cove event. So make sure you check that one out,
And next week's
nafct.com.
episode, is about training and certifications and standards.
So we'll definitely be talking about that, but we'd like to see more people out there. So let's get a room full of some great people together and come
Do
and
great things.
learn from what I know and teach me what I don't.
Until next time.